Good morning, everyone. Mike Herd 360, and I've been playing with batteries over the past week or so. Ordered a battery I've been seeing a lot of folks recommend on Facebook, and wanted to see what it cracked up to be. Well, after watching a video, another guy had he took three different popular batteries from Amazon and tested them, broke them all down. They didn't really crack up to be what they were rated for. Quality was subpar. Anyway, I decided to try one myself. So here's a battery. I don't know if you can make sure that you can see that. All right, yeah, it's 12 volts, 16 amp hour. All right, Nermac, popular Amazon direct battery. Now, what these batteries, these brands, Amazon's full of brands and companies like this. Are little e-commerce companies in China that set up, and then they can ship their goods to the U.S. To a port. It gets picked up, taken to an Amazon warehouse, and stored in that Amazon warehouse. And it's stored under their store name. So they're sitting in China. They create an Amazon store. They have a relationship with a factory over there. They source goods. China's really good at monitoring buying trends in the U.S. They have whole teams that's all they do, and so they're really good at sourcing products. Oftentimes they're counterfeits. Your SanDisk SD cards, Energizer lithium batteries, popular counterfeited items on Amazon. And the reason that they can do that is they can ship these to the U.S. They're stored in an Amazon warehouse. When you purchase this product on Amazon, it says Amazon Prime, so you see that badge and you feel somewhat safe. But what you really need to be paying attention to is who it's sold by. Not shipped by. It'll be shipped by Amazon, but who's it sold by. And so a lot of I think over 60% of the companies are actually little e-commerce companies. So they ship their products to the Amazon warehouse. You buy it, Amazon packs it, ships it to you. And so the money obviously goes right back to a Chinese bank account. So it's leaving our economy. And I harp on this a lot simply because I'm an American business trying to make a living selling products that my customers want, and I'm having to compete with little e-commerce companies in China that are also selling, but yet their money goes back to their economy. Our money, when you spend it with somebody like me, of course I have to have my products made for me, and I have to pay for that, but the rest of the profits and all are spent in our economy and by a U.S. company. My family, I go out to dinner, I buy groceries, I pay taxes, all of those things. But when you buy from a Chinese direct company, little e-commerce company, you don't have that customer service like you do with me, but also you're not you're funding another economy solely, not our economy. I mean, yeah, Amazon does take a small percentage, and I have an Amazon store, so they take a small percentage from me as well. But let's talk about what I found out. So I've charged this battery fully with a Lifepo4 charger that we sell. Charged it 2 times, discharged it 2 times to make sure that it was giving me an accurate reading. I don't know, let's see if you can read that. I don't see that. Well, let me go ahead and unhook this. You've seen it now. Capacity 1,000. Excuse me, it's early in the morning, guys. 14,475 milliamp hours, or 14.475 amp hours. Now, the rating says 16 amp hours. Both times was real close to that. I couldn't get more than that out of it. I ran it down the cutoff voltage. I had it set at 6.5. That means it ran down below where the BMS should have cut off. The BMS should cut off on these batteries about 10 volts. and to protect the cells and prevent over discharge. So I ran it all the way down till the BMS shut off, and we got 14.475 amp hours. All right, these are cool little load devices. You can get these on Amazon. This one here is our battery. Now, I'm not going to hide it from you. These batteries are made in China. They're made for me to my specifications, and I went through several different manufacturers overseas before I found one that I felt was going to give me the best consistent quality and build it to my specifications. All right. This one here is rated 20 amp hours. Let's see what she ran to. And I did the exact same thing as a brand new one, pulled it off the shelf, charged it up using the same charger as I used that one. Ran it all the way down till the BMS cut off. Capacity 20.742 amp hours, or 20,742. So it exceeded the rating both times. Did it 2 times just like I did that one, and both times it exceeded the rating. Battery, let's see, voltage cutoff was 3 volts, but that doesn't matter because the BMS shuts off at 10 volts. And that's kind of confusing to people too. Some people will call me and they're like, hey man, I thought this BMS shut off at 10 volts, but my battery quit, and now I'm only reading like 3 volts. Well, that's because it shut off. It cuts off the output, so it doesn't allow any more voltage output. So that's normal, all right? So if you read a very low voltage with these after the BMS shuts off, that's normal. That's what you're supposed to see, all right? Well, so that's that. We already know this one. So our cells, A grade, first quality. I don't know what's in that one, but it is very common in Amazon direct or Chinese direct batteries that you'll find recycled cells, simply because they're trying to build them as cheap as they can and get them over here, because the customer tends to gravitate towards the cheaper item. You see one and you see another on Amazon, and this one's $100 and this one's $29. Well, they're both made in China and they must be the same, but I'm going to buy the cheap one. This is what you get. All right. Let's see if we can pop this thing open now. Some of these Chinese batteries, I've done another video. Some of these suckers are just so freaking easy to get into. This one, oh, there we go. We got a pop there and a pop there and a pop there. Some of these are pretty easy, and some of these are a little more difficult. Let's see if we can pop this bad boy open. Try not to stab myself here, guys. Now I could have got a cutting tool and cut it open, which is what I actually had to do when I cut one of these open. In fact, we got prototypes. In fact, here's a smaller prototype that I got in. Alright. Get that sealant to pop loose. Alright, it really came open way too easy. It's not sealed up. So if this battery got wet, it's going to get moisture in it. Alright, so first thing I noticed is that little dude right there. That's supposed to be a protection device that monitors the battery temperature. It should be down here attached to your batteries. It's not. It's not a bad looking unit. Comes out really easy. Let's see what cells I got here. These cells are rated 15 amp hour. Not 16, but 15. It didn't even make 15, so that's pretty poor. There's a good chance that these are they're just super low quality. They're B grade, C grade, or they're even just recycled cells. There's a whole industry in China. They're actually one of the largest lithium battery recycling companies in the world, where they have a bunch of little kids in alleyways. You can find the videos online, and they're dissecting or taking apart run out car batteries and train batteries, lithium car and train batteries, taking them apart, testing the cells, putting new labels on them, reassembling battery packs, putting them in a new case like this, and shipping them to Amazon. There's a whole industry that does that. In fact, you can find battery manufacturers that if you tell them that's what you want, they'll build you a battery with that. I think that's not bad. Spot welding there. It looks like it would probably hold up pretty good. I mean, I don't like the way that they had it. Where's the ours at? When we took it apart. Here's one of, this is what's inside this now. And this battery was, before we took it apart, this is how it was all nice and covered up. It had a cover over the top, just as added protection. The housing, let's talk about this. I had to literally destroy the housing to get it apart. Cut it, you can see there where I had to cut it, and I had to pry and pry and pry and pry and pry. So this is a first quality built battery. There's more put into this battery to manufacture it than there is to this one, and that's part of your reasoning for the cost, you know. There's our BMS. There's her little BMS. There's our wire going to our thermistor that goes down, and it's attached to a battery, or was until I pulled it off. It was attached to the battery down here. That's where it should be. It should be monitoring your temperature of your batteries so that they don't overheat while charging. And if they do, if they what the way this is supposed to work is if the board senses an overtemp condition, it shuts off the charging, so you don't continue to pump voltage or amperage into that battery and potentially cause an explosion. Now, Lifepo4 batteries are much safer than like your lithium ions, but still, you need to have that protection circuit in there. And how's it going to do it up here in the air? You know, that's where it was when we opened it up, guys. All right, so I got problems with that. This isn't bad. The spot welded, I would rather see that soldered, where it's a more better connection there. This is ours, and you see that's a spot weld there, but what that is, that's a full circle ring. I would say there's more surface area contact than, looks like 4 or 6 little pieces, 4 or 6 little spots, maybe 4. But it's making a good contact, so I mean, I can't really fault them for that. Nope. Yeah. Oop. All right. That sucked. Let's try this. Hold on. Let me grab something. Alright, I was able to get it off, but it actually broke the tab all the way around just trying to get it unsealed. See, that's a better connection there, guys. So my weld's not breaking, my spot weld's not breaking like this spot weld here basically just popped right on off. I don't know if you can see that. That was how these batteries were connected. So, what are you getting when you buy the cheap ones? This is what you're getting, guys. Maybe it'll last a season, maybe it won't. I have several other brands. Yep, that popped right off. I have several other brands up here. This one, they didn't even last a year. Cheap. We give a 5-year warranty on ours. I don't know what you're going to get with these. But you can't call up anybody and talk to them. Not very well made indeed. And then they're calling it a 16 amp hour. Oh, I got one other thing I'm going to address here in just a second. Calling it a 16 amp hour. But if you could see that, the actual cell itself is rated at 15. And as you can see, we didn't even get 15 amp hour out of it. So guys, that's the difference. And I want to show you something else. Where'd this case go? So you'll see on a lot of these, like here's ours, okay? It says 2,000 plus charge cycles. That's standard when you're fully charging a Lifepo4 battery. You'll see some that'll say 5,000 up there. Well, they put that 5,000 there, and there's some fine print to it. They put that 5,000 there simply so you'll buy it, because you see the 2,000, you see the 5,000. This one's cheaper in 5,000. This one's more in 2,000. Let me buy the 5,000. What that is, they're not telling you that to get that 5,000 amp hours of charge cycles, you can't fully charge it and you can't fully discharge it. So it's a different duty cycle. It's below 80% cycle rate and charge rate. So you're not. They're being very deceptive in their marketing. Herd 360 doesn't do that. We try to be very upfront and truthful about everything within our scope, within our ability. And if we're not, we admit it and we fix it and we move on. You know, if we find something that's not that way. But anyway, guys, just thought you guys would enjoy that. That's why it's cheaper. Let's look at these solder joints. I mean, they're okay. And that one, they used a nice heavy gauge wire. That little short piece of heavy gauge wire is cheap. I can't tell. It says it's 12 gauge. You don't really, it's got a real thick jacket on it. I can feel it. It's a real rubbery, thick jacket. So I guess that's why, because we use 12 gauge as well, but we don't use as thick of a jacket. I like, that ours, the soldering on the board it's a little bit more fluid looking, not as gobbed. This part here was trying to get into that the other day, where it's but it's all sealed up real good with an epoxy or with a some type of silicone caulking, really. But really nice. It's just more time spent, you know. I don't know how to explain that. I've been messing with electronics for years. I used to build amplifiers by hand. Used to own a radio shop, repair shop. And so I know that I can take my time and heat something up properly when I'm soldering, and my solder makes a better bond and it flows better. Or I can just heat it up enough to melt the solder and attach it and move on. And it just seems like that this, I will say that this one is built or assembled better than these. I will say that. But these are junk. I got one right here. And it just looks like, that's what it looks like inside. Terrible, terrible. At least their thermistor did go down there in the battery, so we'll give them that. And then that's another one. It was even really cheaply made. And that was this one. It was just the minimal attention. There was the thermistor, wasn't even attached to the batteries. I popped the lid off just by pushing on it. I was able to pop it off. So that's the reason that they cost more, that ours cost more. Let's see if we can get into this one real quick. This was a prototype of ours. I know it's a long video, but hopefully you guys will like it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, I don't have a cutting tool with me, guys. I'm not gonna be able to get in this thing. But this was a prototype for when we did our 10 amp hours, and they sent me some. I'll see if I can. I think I heard it pop. Nope. Alright, I'd have to cut this one open. I don't have a cutting tool. This one was our prototype. But again, you can see how we do our thing. These are 20 amp hours because this was a 20 amp hour battery. These are 20 amp hours and they exceed their rated capacity. These are 15 amp hours. They call it a 16 and it didn't even make it to 15 amp hour capacity. It should be, so that's 15 amp hours all in series to give you 12.8 volts at 15 amp hours. It came in at 14.475. This one was 420s in series to give you 12.8 volts at 20 amp hours, and it exceeded the 20 amp hour capacity. That's what I expect from my batteries. Guys, thanks for watching this long, probably slightly boring video, but I just wanted to show you why they're cheaper. Call them up and talk to them. Find out who you're buying it from and call them up and ask them questions about technical stuff and about, you know, like I get questions all the time about my batteries, but I also get questions about this battery. In fact, somebody just messaged me on Facebook just a little while ago and, hey, will this battery work for my camera? But then they're going to go buy it from somebody else. Why do you, you guys come to me because you can talk to me and you trust my advice and you trust what I'm going to tell you. Don't go shop somewhere else after doing that, guys. Come see me. We'll take care of you. We stand behind our products. Mike at Herd 360. And I hope you guys have a great day. Good luck hunting this season. And I'm going to get to work.